You're listening to Around Comics.
And you are watching live Around Comics, I think. Was that super loud?
That was super loud.
Super crazy loud. I don't know what happened. Something changed, and for some reason that was insanely loud, and I don't know why. But I'll
Big
have to
booming
figure.
loud. It's all right.
Yeah, that was
But the
weird.
point is that I want people to watch and contribute.
That's right. I want people to watch and contribute, just like Booster.
We're gonna talk about
good.
Booster and Ted Cord probably about the time that Tom gets her. So no worries to everyone out there. Tom is going to be here. He's on his way.
Tom's on
Relax.
his way.
It's going to be all right.
Oh boy,
It's going to be okay.
These unfaithful fans, they're just here for Tom.
We know that.
Yeah.
But we can talk about stuff.
We can talk about stuff. We can talk
read
about.
things.
I lost an eye almost. I almost have to. I might have to start wearing a patch soon. I'm just gonna be a pirate.
Yeah.
And
I went through that. It's no fun.
yeah,
We talked about
that's
my
right. I
eye
remember
injections.
that. Yeah, you had all your eye injections. That's horrible. That sounds like something out of a movie they would use to torture a victim for information, and you did it willingly.
There was a definite Stanley Kubrick, flash, moment there. And you're just like, okay, Doc, you gonna, start playing the wacky, violent movies now,
right? Yeah.
But no, I don't want to make light of your yard work mishap.
Yard injury, my yard accident. Yeah, I was weed whacking and did not wear safety. Kids, make sure you always wear safety glasses when you weed whack.
Stay in school, kids.
Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Wear safety glasses. That's all I got for you. Yeah. And I'm either sick or my allergies are acting up. So I'm miserable. So welcome to Around Comics, episode 386. Here we go. Yeah, we're talking. We got lots of comics.
We can talk some Cullen Bunn comics.
Cullen Bunness, the Bunness. Cullen Bunn, I remember way back when.
Back in the day?
Back in the day when we had, when Cullen and, Brian Hurt came out to Challengers, and they had the release of The Damned, right? Wasn't that sort of why they were there? They were doing a signing maybe for The Damned?
When they were there, it was because of either the first trade of the Sixth Gun or something.
You're right. Yeah,
because The Damned had come out before the Sixth Gun, and we actually, Around Comics, if you look, The Damned #1, I think, has a Around Comics pull quote.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Well, I probably knew that, but I probably forgot it.
Yeah.
At some point in time.
Yeah. So, but then they replaced our pull quote in the trade paperback with one from Kurt Busiek. So
son of a bitch.
I know, assholes.
I have a grudge. I have a grudge against Kurt Busiek.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you mispronounced his name for years and didn't know it.
Yeah. No. No. I got in a Twitter argument with him once, and I didn't.
You got into a spat.
It was a spat, and I did everything I could to not argue with him. I was not. I was trying not to argue with him.
Staying out of a fight with your wife.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
You're right. I'm absolutely right.
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%.
Well, that was just it. I didn't agree with him, but it was just I kind of was trying to just leave it as, hey, agree to disagree. It wasn't even that. It was more like, I don't have enough information to make a opinion. I need to do more research. And he was like, no, this is the fact. I don't even know what it was about. I don't even remember. But it was like, I'm like, okay, dude, I'm not going to just blindly agree with you because you write comic books. But yeah. So
arguing about Wonder Man, weren't you?
Actually, I think it was something to do with the book. Do you remember the book that came out? It was called Dr. Marston and the Wonder Woman. Wonder Women.
It just hit. Is it HBO Max that just added that?
They did, and I
Yeah,
never read the
it's-
book, and I never.
Well, the movie. I mean, it's the story about William Moulton Marston. Right?
Marston, yeah, and I don't remember because that came out, and I was just like, oh, I didn't know anything about this. I didn't have. I need to do more research, or I needed to know more about this sort of thing. Was kind
The
of how
very
the conversation.
interesting life of.
Yeah, and I don't know. He took offense to it in some way, and yeah, it was weird. It was very weird, and I haven't. Yeah, and I'm like, I really like Astro City. I don't.
I said something online that Mark Wade took offense to, and I felt shitty because it was about somebody else, and I'm just like, yeah, this is why I need to stay off of social media. So
Yeah,
it's like,
I don't. I try and just be funny or silly most of the time, and not get too serious about stuff.
yeah,
There's no point.
But anyway,
Anyway, but back to Cullen Bunn.
Back to Cullen Bunn.
So my point was, like, back in the day when when we met them, and I think we might have had dinner and some drinks with those guys, and we got to know them. But it's like he has written so much,
prolific,
and he is one of those guys that just has good ideas. Like, he just keeps coming up with like really good premises for books. And
as I was reading this, I was like, there are very few people in this industry that can nail the elevator pitch comic like Cullen Bunn does.
That is a perfect explanation. He like, I think tons and tons of writers probably come up with really good pitches or really good concepts for something, but then fail to make a legitimate story out of it. You know what I mean? It's like an idea is easy to come up with, but then to turn that into an actual story is a lot of work. And he has this knack of like going, what if a guy was possessed by a demon and then he got an exorcism, like a cut rate exorcism,
exorcism,
and he got left with all the demonic powers.
Yeah.
That's the pitch. And then he makes a really, good comic book out of it too. And it's just like, he just keeps doing that, keeps doing that.
What do you think about a gangster comic that takes place in a world where demons exist and are part of the criminal underworld?
But it's also in Prohibition era, and demons exist and are part of the he just what was the one? It was like the Ark. Remember the Ark? He had done that, which was interesting. Which was like there was Dark Ark. That was it. Like, what if there was another Ark, instead, not just Jonah's Ark, but there was another, and it was like, evil sort of the Dark Ark. Yeah,
I liked the Tooth. Yeah, it was a superhero that was a giant tooth. He did that with Matt Kent.
He must. I don't know. He just comes up with some wild idea. But anyway, this book is called Lucky Devil, and there's 2 issues out, I think, right now, and it's Cullen Bunn, and shoot, I don't have the
Sal or Saul or
I'll look it up. Let me look it up real quick.
I don't have it around me.
Lucky Devil. It's a Dark Horse. It's from Dark Horse Comics. It's Fran Galan is the artist, with colors by El Torres. It is a crime horror book, and basically the story is a guy, this kind of loser, who has this shitty job as some sort of assistant that everybody shits on him. And it reminded me a lot of like Wanted in the beginning, remember Wanted, where he's, just sort of this and his wife is, cheating on him, and he's just kind of this loser. He gets possessed by a very powerful demon with, bloodthirsty powers and all this stuff. But so he, does the sort of only thing he can think of to do, and he goes to see a
support group.
A support group. Well, no, that's after the fact. No, but he goes to see an exorcist. He goes to see a psychic, or like a like a mystic or something, and then the guy gives him a cut rate. Hey, Tom. The guy gives him a cut rate exorcism. We're talking about Lucky Devil. And so the demon gets exorcised from him, but the powers remain, and so he has all these demonic powers, and he's done some pretty horrible things to people that
and the demon is cast out, but not out of this realm. He's still hanging around and around.
He's hanging around trying to figure out how he can get his powers back,
and just being a nuisance.
So then the guy decides he's gonna start a cult. That's what he was gonna do with his demonic powers. He's gonna start a cult, which is interesting. And it's, like I said, 2 issues into it. I really love the art. Fran Galan, if that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or not. But I really enjoy the art on it. It feels
It's a little Tom Fowler going on there.
well, I was gonna say, going back to Mad Magazine, it was like Al Davis. That's what in which Tom Fowler is, I think, an Al Davis disciple. Really cool, really cool art, really different sort of look for a book. But I loved some of the scenes that he did with like crowds. Like he did like some big crowds or like rooms full of people, and it was just like, oh, that's really interesting how he sort of laid them out.
Some disturbing scenes in those big.
Oh yeah,
crowds.
there were some blood. Yeah, there's lots of blood and guts.
Who's the from Pennyworth? The Aleister Crowley, is that who I'm thinking of?
Oh yeah.
The Satanist guy. Yeah, this is very Aleister Crowley.
Demonic.
Yeah. Devil sex parties.
It's a pretty cool book, though. I enjoy it so far, and like I said, Cullen just has a knack for. I mean, one, he's super prolific. He seems like he has a new book out every couple of months. There's something new coming from Cullen Bunn, but he always comes up with these novel ideas.
Well, I don't know if it was just kind of how things happened or if he really steered that way, but horror comics can be kind of a hard sell in comics, but he really kind of became the horror guy for a while. Now he's done superhero stuff, he's done Western, but he seems to gravitate towards and do really, really good work in the horror genre.
Yeah, I don't know if that's just what he likes or for whatever reason that is what he's fallen into, but yeah, he definitely does. But it's horror, but it's usually like horror spliced with some other sort of genre. Like it's like you said, he's done horror crime and horror
westerns.
Horror westerns, and I think this is kind of a crime book, maybe. Kind of, I don't know. We'll see where it goes, but yeah, I like the demon. When he shows up later on and he's just this creepy, and he's like you're gonna need me, even he's like this weird sort of like it's like, come on pal, I know you got all my powers and I have no leverage here, but you're gonna need me. No, who knows how to do this better than me, and trying to sort of horn in on it. I'm assuming stick around until he can figure out how to get his powers back.
Yeah,
is what
exactly.
I'm assuming the demon's doing, but. Yeah, so Lucky Devil from Dark Horse, pretty cool book. Pretty good. Pretty
I
good.
I'd like to see Cullen. I don't know why he hasn't done a Hellblazer at this point, or maybe he has and I missed it because the guy, it does seem like he has new comics out every week. But he would be a really good pick for a run on Hellblazer.
Yeah, I think so. I think he did. I feel like he did do a run on Hellblazer.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna look up the answer.
Tom is elbowing his way back into being the research department instead of Wayne. We can't.
Instead of. You guys can keep doing research.
We got some comments there. First, Wayne said he saw Shang-Chi today, and he was surprised that it wasn't bad. And I've heard a lot of positive reviews of Shang-Chi. Either of you guys seen it yet?
I have not. I thought about going today, but I did not go. I wasn't feeling well, so.
I don't think he's done a Hellblazer.
No? I thought he did. Oh, all right.
Because it makes sense, right?
Do yourself a Hellblazer. Maybe he doesn't know how to write an English accent.
I'll bet you, if nothing else, he has pitches and probably some. Is it fan fiction if an actual published writer writes a story? Is it fan fiction until?
Well, if he's not being paid, to do it, it is
fan fiction.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Has in Hellblazer, has he ever met like the American version? Is there what would the American Hellblazer?
Who would be the Doctor Strange? No,
no.
No.
Who would be the American Hellblazer? I don't know. I'm not sure who.
Guy
Keanu
with, like,
Reeves.
a-
Keanu Reeves was the American.
Good answer. That is the correct answer, Sal.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was.
nailed it.
I didn't mind that movie actually. I didn't
That's
hate.
not bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, for as far as
But
Hellblazers go,
it can be my that can be the name of my movie podcast.
it's fine.
It's fine.
It's
fine.
Tom Caters.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. Hi, Tom. How you
What are you
doing?
gonna do? I'm all right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm cleaning up water. I spilled some water.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
On anything important?
No.
All over
no.
over a
Just the
long
desk.
box of classic.
Yeah. Some CGC. I soaked some CGC, X-Men from the
Oh,
80s.
speaking
Are
of, are you
those
gonna
slabs
buy what
waterproof?
What?
the slab or slabs waterproof? Yeah, I think that's kind of the point.
Are they? I don't know if they're waterproof.
I've-
I mean, I think they're water resistant, but are they
I would
waterproof?
hope they're waterproof.
Like, I don't know.
I
I have no
want-
idea. I've never owned one, so I
I
don't
would hope
know.
Anyone
that they
out
would-
there who owns a slab comic, I want a video of you dipping it in a bucket of water.
The slab water challenge. We've
the slab
around
challenge.
comics. The
Slab
slab
water.
challenge.
Yeah,
I will not reimburse.
Take out
you.
those Amazing Fantasy 15s, folks. The higher the dollar value, the more impressive the video
Dip
is
an
for us.
amazing, yeah. Dip one of those in a bucket of water and let's see
Yeah.
what happens.
You texted me that you were getting ready to possibly buy a high dollar comic book. Or did that
Well,
happen?
I was looking into possibly buying a high dollar collection of
Okay.
comics, but I'm not sure if the gentleman is ready to sell yet. He initially sounded like he
Do
was,
we need to
but
make
then
him ready to sell?
we need to make a visit, take a visit.
So-
No, I had there's a buddy of mine that I got to know through the show, who I've, funny enough, lived not far from me here, and I've known him for a couple of years now. And he used to own a comic shop a long time ago, and he has a very good collection. And there was somebody that contacted me about possibly, selling a collection, that kind of thing. And we thought maybe we'd buy it, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure if he's ready to sell. I think it's one of those things where it's like he thinks he wants to sell, but the reality of like what you're gonna get for a collection, unless you piecemeal it out, if you're trying
Yeah.
to sell something in bulk, you're just not gonna, there's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
few people are gonna pay you for like,
Yeah.
the what
And
it's
if you
worth,
piecemeal it out,
technically.
that's a lot of work.
Exactly, and that's what I kind of told him, and but who knows? I don't know, but yeah, he had some really cool stuff. It was just, I don't think he's quite ready to part with it. We'll see.
Was he ready to dip it in water?
Maybe I could contact him and find out.
Yeah,
He
because everybody wants Amazing Fantasy 15. Nobody really cares about Amazing Fantasy 16.
I think
And that's the problem.
he had a all new
Giant size?
Giant Size X-Men #1. It was CGC.
What does that
It
thing
was-
go for these days?
It was like, well, I think his was like a 9.4, and I think
damn.
yeah, but it's weird because like it goes down dramatically from like a 9.8 to a 9.4.
Mhm.
So like a 9.8 is
Get that garbage out of here.
Yeah.
9.4.
9.4 is in damn
Trash.
nice
it is,
shape.
but it's like a difference between like $60,000 and $12,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! I remember.
But
when-
that's because
we are
there's-
old. I remember when that comic was like $400.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But, so, yeah, I think I don't know. That one I would love to have. I would love to have that book, but I'm not spending $12,000 on a comic book. What are you, fucking crazy?
Yeah.
What am I? But yeah, so no
money
high-end
bags.
purchases for me. No, sir.
Just the money bags. It's crazy. The market has gotten ridiculous.
Well, it was interesting because I'm like, well, what, like I said, it was through a friend of a friend sort of a thing. And the guy knew that I, knew about comics or that kind of thing. So he's like, well, I'm like, well, what do you have? And he's like, oh, here. And he sends me like a PDF list of everything that he has and the
Mhm.
rating, everything that, and it was like 90 pages of I mean, it
Jesus.
was hundreds of books, and I'm just like, okay, this is an insanely large, and probably half of it was like CGC graded. I'm like, well,
Wow.
this is a huge collection of stuff. Now, a lot of it was probably not worth much, at
Yeah.
all, but because he had stuff CGC graded that was kind of weird, like stuff that was like $100. It was like $100. It was worth 100. I'm like, well, I guess. I mean, how much does it cost you? What does it cost to get one
People
graded? I mean,
it costs them. It's like 35 bucks, I think, to grade them and slab them. I mean, it's not.
cheap.
It's not
Yeah.
cheap. I mean, I've never done it, and I think that fandom is so weird. We were talking on ACTV this week, Ding, about there's a whole generation of fans now that their canon, their fandom is the movies, right? The movies and the TV shows, and not even really
Right.
the comics. I think there's a whole other subset of fans who I think are like us, that we're not as much collectors as we are readers. It's like the collection I have is whatever I've assembled. I don't go out and
Right.
collect
Yeah.
like high dollar back issues, but I think there is that whole sect of
Oh, for sure.
fandom that is huge into that.
And I think it's grown quite a bit of late. I think people are looking at it much more, in the same way they look at any other investment now. I
Yeah.
think people are looking at high end comics as investing, money into stuff that's going to retain its value, and that's so the market's really. I mean, there's entire, like, incredibly popular, like, Instagram pages that are nothing more than people, showing their collection or selling their collection, one book at a time, graded stuff, or like, there's YouTube pages that are just
Yeah.
basically about
It's-
collecting, and
It's
It's
like
nuts
fine art.
because
It's a great way to launder money.
it's
yeah,
great money laundering.
if you were a drug dealer or something, it'd be a great way to, if you could
Yeah.
But
pay
it's-
cash for everything.
Most of the those Silver Age and Bronze Age comics that are exploding in value, I always have to think that's because they're aimed at people our age, and you have a lot of people in their 40s and 50s that make a lot of freaking money, and that's nostalgic for them. What's that going to be in 20 or 30 years when you have an entire generation that really doesn't care about the X-Men that much? It's will we have those peaks and valleys where then all of a sudden, the Scott Pilgrim #1 is worth $1 bazillion or something?
Well, I think there's partially that might be true, but I think you're always going to have, like, giant size X-Men is probably always going to retain its value and go up in value because it's not about, like, fandom. You know what I mean? Like, it's just about collecting. It's about, this is a rare
Rarity.
book. This is
Rarity.
worth money.
Yeah, especially if
I mean-
people start dipping their slab books in water.
It's just going to make stuff more rare. I mean, that's what we're
That's-
trying to do.
Look at Joe's.
It's my scheme, guys. I've talked about this before.
look-
Can we convince people to destroy the rare comics?
Slowly but surely, Tom
Yeah.
is just trying to make his comic book collection.
Yeah, like if you buy
More
2
rare.
copies and you slab one, can you destroy the other to increase the value of the one?
If there's only 2 left, then yes.
Yeah.
It's Joe Galuzik, and I always, I'm sure, butcher his name, mentioned that Ben Affleck's character in The Accountant had CGC Action Comics in his getaway stash as a way to launder money.
That seems like a weird way to do it, though. It's not like you're gonna quickly get rid of Action
Flip it.
Comics #1. Yeah, it's like, I need fast cash because I'm running from, something. Like, I'm gonna flip this. Yeah, Action Comics #1. I mean, to launder money, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't have any money, so I've never had to launder, money.
I
I've
launder money
never
all
had
the
enough-
time, but it's usually when I just forget a $10 bill in my pants.
Right on pump.
Yeah,
What
well,
I'm
it's a thing you pay in cash for it. It's not unusual to, if you're a big spender, you can drop a lot of money on something, and it's, like, here's $20,000 for,
Right.
for this.
for a magazine that kids threw away.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, all
Well,
right,
that's why it's
thank you
rare.
very much. Yeah.
They didn't care about them. They threw them away.
I don't know. For a long time, I was very much against the whole CGC thing, just because it's like the same. Like, I hate the idea of like buying toys and leaving them in the packages and
Oh.
you know, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. I get it. I understand it. But I'm just like, I've never been a collector in the sense of like, I'm only going to buy something because it's collectible or because, you know, it's like anything that I have that is collectible by accident.
Yeah.
I have it
and personal.
Yeah, it's something personal to me or something that I, you know, but I think there is definitely a lot of it now that's just nostalgia where people are really nostalgic for so much stuff. And so they, you know, they collect all that crap.
Yeah, I got to go see what my baseball cards are worth because I have no idea. They're somewhere in a box downstairs, and I've heard that baseball cards got ridiculously collectible again.
They have. Yeah, basketball cards, football cards, baseball cards, all the cards.
Except all of the cards that I own. Those will be fucking worthless because that's how this always works.
I keep trying to convince. I have a family member who got into basketball cards, a lot of different trading cards, but basketball cards, and actually pulled from a pack a
jersey card.
A jersey card, yeah, a game worn jersey card of what's the dude's name? Doncic.
Luka Doncic.
Yeah, he's got it,
Damn.
and that thing's worth like a lot of fucking money right now. I'm like, sell it now. Sell it.
You are at the top of this. Let me tell you about Beanie Babies and why you should sell this now.
Yeah, I think I have some of those. My wife has some Beanie Babies stuffed away somewhere.
Well, I'm sure they were worth big money at one point.
Probably. I don't know. I have no idea. I think I have the same, like, if I didn't have bad luck when it came to that stuff, I'd have no luck. And it's like, as soon as I sell a stock, you know, as I play with a little bit with, you know, all the apps that you can buy stocks and shit. As soon as I sell a stock, it goes up. So it's just like, I was about a week or so ago, we lost power. I came home and we didn't have power since like noon, and I get home from work and it's like 5 o'clock, 5:30, whatever. I can't remember what time it was, and I'm like, we still didn't have power. The power was supposed to be back on at 3 o'clock, and I'm getting a little nervous because it's like I got, you know, my freezer and refrigerator and all that stuff. So I'm like, well, fuck. So I pull out the generator because I bought a generator years ago because we lost power over the years. And I get everything hooked up. I mean, it takes me, I don't know, an hour to like run electrical cords and get stuff hooked up to everything. I got a fan going because it's super hot in the house. I got a dehumidifier going. I got the freezer. I got the refrigerator. I got everything hooked up. Within 12 seconds of me being done, it was just like, oh, okay, that's done. Boom, the power goes back on. I'm like, you're welcome, neighborhood. That was me. That was definitely my luck. Yeah, so.
Been there.
I don't know.
Been there.
Yep.
Tom, you want to talk about some blue and gold?
Yeah, sure.
Blue and gold.
Back again.
Gold and blue. It's gold and blue, isn't it? It's gold and blue. No, I'm just kidding. I know it's blue. It's Booster. Booster thinks it should be blue or gold and blue, right?
Yeah. I'm always happy to see Booster and Beetle back together again, and especially whenever you get Dan Jurgens writing it. So I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I think we said in the past, you know, Booster Gold's more relevant now than he was when he first came out, you know? Like, it's like, oh yeah, someone from the future would be desperate to get attention. You know,
broadcasting everything.
He's the original like and subscribe guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's so obviously would be a YouTube and wannabe YouTube influencer so badly. He would want to be. So
he'd be the Jake Paul of superheroes. Is that right?
Oh my god. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess what does that make Blue Beetle then?
I don't know. I'm not. Who's another influencer? I don't know. And Jake Paul's the only influencer.
That's the only influencer. Yeah,
pretty much.
Well, anyway, yeah, definitely. The character makes so much more sense now.
Can I ask a question? So, the Ted Cord that is in this book, who is that's his son? That's Ted Kord's son, or is that Ted Kord?
Is Ted Kord back?
I assume so.
Is that I couldn't tell because
I
like
think it's Ted Kord.
okay, but there's a scene in the beginning of the book when Skeet's Booster's fighting the alien ship, and then he gets in trouble, and then Skeets runs off to go get Blue Beetle, but it's like the guy's standing at a gravesite and talking to his dad. I'm like, is this Ted Kord's son, or is that Ted Kord?
No, it's Ted
I
Kord
think
because
Ted Kord's dad was the one that started the company that he has, I think.
Oh, so that's what he was talking about.
Kord Industries.
Listen,
I just didn't know.
It's
Tom,
complicated.
explain this to us.
No, I'm not going to because I don't know how it works. But
Tom,
yeah,
explain
I mean,
Hawkman to me.
I read a comic where Blue Beetle got his brains blown out. And now he's back. I don't know. A bunch of stuff happened.
That was like 10 years ago too.
Yeah,
so
it's all
it's
So this is the actual Blue Beetle. It's not his son, or it's actually Ted. Okay, I wasn't sure. The last I had heard he was dead, so I just didn't know.
Can understand. I can understand the confusion.
Was it Jaime? It's the wait no.
Yeah. Especially in light of the fact that Jaime is probably, there's a little bit of that weird like in the animated stuff. He's Blue Beetle, like,
right? My kid would tell you that Jaime. Yeah.
That's who Blue Beetle is. Yeah.
My son would tell you that's who Blue Beetle is. He doesn't even know who Ted Kord is. He'd be like, "Oh, Jaime Reyes, that's Blue Beetle."
Blue Beetle, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Which is an awesome Blue Beetle. So I don't know. That's DC has too many fucking mantles.
Too many Beetles. Too many Beetles getting passed around.
Has there ever been another? There was a female booster too, Rez, wasn't there? Wasn't there a female booster at one point? I think.
Gold Star.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like wrestling. It's sort of like wrestling. DC.
Yes.
There's a couple of the son is named after him. There could be 3 or 4 characters that are kind of the same.
I mean, it's always like, Booster Gold. You can always kind of write off like whatever weird continuity thing to like he's a time traveler. So like.
True.
Whatever, he can show up whenever. It's kind of like, he's always from the future, no matter how far into the future we go.
I always liked that Booster was sort of like, well, I never thought of it before, but now looking at sort of, how we've seen so much deconstruction of sort of the blonde, blue-eyed, white savior character, where it's like Strange Adventures. Like he leaves Earth and he's a kind of a loser on Earth, but then he goes
he's a hero someplace else. Yeah.
And it's like Booster was this loser in the future, but he comes back and he tries to be that, but he's kind of not. He's still kind of a loser.
Grifter's gonna grift, man. Grifter's gonna grift.
Try as hard as he may.
Yeah.
He can't sort of escape his essential loserness.
And the Justice
even when he's a hero.
Yeah, even when he actually is a hero, like in this first issue.
Yeah.
He is a hero, and they save the Justice League, yet they don't want him. They want Blue Beetle. Which was perfect.
Which was great, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
They save the Justice League and they're expecting to get invited. And they just like when Booster's off doing something, they like casually like, "Hey, we want you to join, but not him." But not him.
It's really douchey. Really douchey.
Listen, they want they wanted you can't. It's but Blue Beetle, to his credit, he stood up for his partner, and it's like, no, it's a team. If you can't have both, one of us, you got to have both. But I'd be interested to if the role was reversed. Do you think Booster would do the same?
No,
I don't think so.
No. Booster would be like, buddy, sorry, it's been fun
on the weekends.
No, he'd be like, don't worry, I'll get you in. Don't worry, and never ever
have it happen. No.
Yeah, Booster is a member of the league at that point.
Yeah, right. See ya. I liked Ryan Sook's art. It's a little different than he's really changed his art style. I remember
Yeah.
when he first, first kind of came around, it was much more
X
like,
Factor, so good.
yeah, awesome. Loved his stuff, but it was much more like the how do you say it? Chiarosaro, the black and sort of more black and white
Yeah.
kind of art, and now it's a little more
It was really bright
hatched.
for Ryan Sook.
Yeah, and I think he's kind of his art has sort of transformed over the years to be more like this.
I don't know, man. I love that X Factor run that he did was so good. Who wrote that?
Peter
Peter
David.
David?
Yeah,
David?
I believe it. Yeah.
That was a great run. The
It
whole
was.
Madrox thing.
Yeah, it was awesome. That's probably one of my favorite X books that outside of the X-Men kind of thing. That was an awesome run of books. A bunch of weird characters too that he just took and made a really interesting series out of. And I think he try and go back to that at some point, but it didn't quite.
Yeah, it didn't quite work as well.
Yeah, it's hard to go back home again.
Yeah. Can't go back home again.
Time. Well, I hope they carve out a nice little space for Booster and Blue Beetle.
Well, we got seven more issues.
Yeah, give them. It's good to see him every once in a while. It's always good to see any of the Justice League International, stuff kind of pop up here and there.
Was that's your favorite JLA, right, Tom? The JLA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I mean, I feel like I said I said this like 2 weeks ago, right? It's the most ahead of its time version of it. I still think it's ahead of its time, and if it came out now, people would still be like, "Oh, what is this?" Like it's a very, such a different way of approaching superhero comics, especially at the time where it was like a mix of humor, but also there was very serious things in there and like real villains and also like weird goofy stuff, and it was just kind of, it was all over the place, like in a really interesting way. It wasn't so like, it was very unpredictable in a way that like nowadays I feel like you kind of have to like pick your lane with the Justice League, like this is the return of the 7 best Justice League members, or this is a dark Justice League. Like, right, you gotta like pick your lane, and that's what your pitch is, and that's what your Justice League is. And that one kind of jumps around a little bit, and then it runs out of steam and gets bad. But I mean, it's always good to see those characters around with each other and see them interact. Like they're much different. They sort of have, Booster's loserness does make him unique. Like there's like the fact that he is like a kind of a goofy YouTube influencer wannabe, like, but yet still a hero. So like he's kind of in between, like you can have him be in a story where he is fighting aliens and like, but also in the end, he's never really going to get exactly what he wants, and Blue Beetle is going to have a bunch of stuff get blown up, and they're never going to quite, like do it correct and like win totally out, but they'll do okay, and it's sort of like they kind of live in that interesting space.
I think, you said he's so relevant now more than ever, because of the way our society is and social media and everything. And it'd be really interesting to see him in other media, like see Booster in I could totally see a TV show of Booster Gold that is sort of outside of the DC universe. I mean, you could have those characters on the fringes, on the periphery, of the show, but like you could do a whole show of Booster Gold, as this character that comes from the future and trying to be a hero and yet trying to be this, sort of media influencer.
Social media darling.
And also, trying to get the likes.
Yeah.
Desperate for the likes and the shares.
I want you to watch and contribute.
And the subscriptions.
There is a script has been turned in, and there is pending film that was back in 2019. That,
Yeah.
but it's been going around for a while. I think a Booster Gold film, but I'd love to see him in like an HBO Max show or something. Just something like completely like you could take such a different
You gotta keep
sort of
Skeets. Gotta have
Or
Skeets.
or just literally do a YouTube show where it's just
you
Booster's
could, right.
channel. Yeah, right?
If
Like,
Warner Media we're trying to really get into the zeitgeist, that is the way to go right there.
or
So,
you
do we just
start
do
Booster Gold's TikTok channel.
Nathan Fillion as Booster Gold's YouTube channel creator? Like,
Just
I think
trying to fit TikTok dances and
into saving kids.
into saving it. That would be the way to do it. It's just like
That'd be pretty funny.
format it exactly as like you only watch it over YouTube. And
Yeah,
it
it's
is
just
only,
and they're short videos, just
and it's
like
him just desperately attempting to get attention.
Did you? I'm not recommending this show for anyone. I'm just curious if anyone happened to watch any of this show called Clickbait.
Oh, my
on
TV keeps wanting me to
Don't.
do that.
Don't. It's terrible. It's one of the worst. My wife loves it. We started watching it, and I couldn't after like an episode and a half. I'm like, I can't. I don't think I can watch this show any longer. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting premise initially. A guy, it's this this family and this brother and sister, but the brother ends up getting kidnapped essentially, as far as you're aware when the show begins, and he's being held hostage by unknown assailants that basically are saying if this video, and they're live streaming it, if this video gets 5 million views, they're gonna kill him. And then the show goes way off the fucking rails.
No.
But it was kind of interesting. But one of the things with the comic, the Blue and Gold, that I didn't get over it, and I've always hated, was when they try and incorporate social media into a comic book, like the comments and it's just like, I hate it so much.
It
when
never
they do that.
quite works.
It just doesn't work. And nothing against I'm sorry, the writer,
Dan Jurgens,
but it's like, dude, how old are you? And you're writing like teenage.
I think it's always because it always comes across as like a comment on it as opposed to like
a reflection of what it is.
It always seems like a little bit of like
it's
this is stupid,
right
vibe to it, where it's
look
like,
how dumb these comments are.
Well, the first thing that I always think of is like whenever in what we think of as timeless comics, like maybe Silver Age Spider-Man comics, whenever they make pop culture references, they never age well. And I feel like all the social media stuff, it's like, oh, we'll go back. People are going to read this 10, 15, 20 years from now, and it's going to seem incredibly dated.
Well, and I also think that it makes for shitty storytelling. Like because it's dialogue, right? Like it's dialogue caption boxes in a panel, so you have like the main action of what's going on, and then I'm stopping to have to read these essentially inane comments that really don't enhance the story in any way. They don't really, it's not much
like social media itself. It doesn't really add to the conversation.
It doesn't, and that's the problem. But it's taking away from the storytelling and the flow of the panel. It's like all of a sudden you have a panel and you have Booster saying something, and then there's like 7 boxes of comments, and it's like, well, these aren't really helping the story in any way. It's not like
it's also like people get what social media is now.
Yeah.
People understand YouTube comments, and they understand, they understand people leave comments on stuff. It is strange because it is like whenever it comes up, it's often like, here, people leave comments. Like, yes, that's how people consume, like would
everything.
the interesting part of Booster trying to be an influencer be any less interesting if we didn't see comments? I'd be like, no, I get it. If the whole time he's flying around, he's like talking to his phone,
right?
And like Skeets is like, you have, your likes are going down.
Yeah, exactly.
There's ways of doing it without that sort
every
of like,
panel has to have comments in it all of a sudden, or it only. I mean, to be fair, it was only the beginning of the first issue, but it's like I have always disliked that. I don't think it's ever worked well. I don't think it does anything to enhance the storytelling in any way, and it's like just stop doing it.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get social media.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately,
I understand it totally.
Well, and to relate to that, Joe G says, and comics are always around 4 to 6 months behind because of production time. Social media changes too fast for that. That's actually a pretty interesting comment. Yeah, it's like this book was written who knows how long ago, and it's like, if you're going to try and be topical, it's already out of date. It's like YOLO. It's like that was one of the comments in the book, and I'm just like,
whereas opposed to like the deeper truth that like from now on that is people will be filming themselves doing stuff.
Everyone will
all the time because we all have cameras, and that's true. Whatever the next thing is, the idea being that Booster is somebody who totally fits in to our universe of like, we are constantly filming ourselves and we're desperate for people to like us.
We need that dopamine, man.
We need that rush, baby.
Yeah. My wife. Go ahead.
Maybe it's on Twitter. Maybe it's a podcast. Maybe
a YouTube channel.
My wife and I went to Best Buy tonight because she wanted to buy a new phone. It was time. She's had her phone for several years, and she got the Z Flip phone, the Samsung Z Flip.
Mm-hmm. That's because neat. Of course she did.
Because of course she did, and I tell you what, that Z Fold, that I picked that thing up, and I'm like, oh shit, we live in the future.
It's interesting, foldable phones now.
Dude, go look at it. It's awesome. You can read comics on it. It's a tablet phone replacement. That's not as it's cool.
I don't know.
Skeets was the original. Cool. Skeets was the original smartphone.
Right.
Yeah. And now we all have a Skeets.
Well, it's not how long before you just have drones following you around, filming you 24/7.
I get the good angles
here now.
Yeah, the technology is already, kind of almost there, where it's like you could, through GPS and AI, you could have a drone follow you around and film you, and So
Dan Jurgens.
I just need to guess
it, dude.
Yeah, right. How did you figure that out? When was Booster like? When did
Mid-80s.
Booster come out?
Yeah, it's got to be 80s. Yeah.
Do you think that it? February 1986. So yeah, right there, Booster Gold #1. Do you think that like? So I'm trying to think, like 1986. Would that be like what would have given him the idea of like in the future? This is what a superhero. This is what celebrities like. Do you think MTV that was sort of because that would have been relatively new. Within a few years, right? I don't know when MTV came out. It was early
80s,
but
80, 81, 80.
Right, but I'm
80,
saying, if he wrote this in 85...
like the MTV generation.
Era, the generation, where it's like, the first sort of celebrities that weren't movie stars or TV stars were like...
Maybe in the first like celebrities who were famous for being famous was starting to happen in the mid-late 80s.
Yeah, I wonder if that'd be an interesting conversation with Dan Jurgens.
We should talk to Dan Jurgens.
Let's talk to him. Find out.
Somebody get Dan Jurgens on the phone, goddammit. Oh, we don't have that power.
I mean, it is very Adam Strange. It's like sort of time travel Adam Strange in a way. So in that sense, it's not like a crazy, totally out of the box idea of like, like I'm a loser here. I go someplace. It is a little different in the fact that it doesn't work.
Right.
He doesn't
right.
become. He can never escape his essential loserness, no matter how hard. Whereas Adam Strange is he becomes a hero of another world.
Right.
Like he achieves that fantasy.
Well, it's Lawrence of Arabia. It's,
yeah.
It's that same sort of thing. But yeah, it is interesting that he comes back and because there's Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and Green Arrow, all these heroes that are just better than him. That's sorry, it's you're not gonna just take over and be famous because you have, and I think it was also like the interesting thing was his motivation. Like his motivation, he right? Because didn't he go and like steal the technology?
He stole the technology from the museum he worked at in the future.
Just to be a hero and to be famous. Really,
Is it a flight ring? Does he have like a Legion flight ring?
He does. Well, it's sort of interesting too, because it's like what makes this character. It's the convergence of you can do selfish things, but not be a villain. Like he's not a bad guy.
No,
but his motives are never necessarily always like
pure.
Totally pure, right? And there's not
selfish.
There's a little selfish, and in the DC universe, that's not common. Of like this guy, like he's out to make money and like be famous. He's also a hero. He's also a hero. He's smarter than Favre. And then as Joe mentions, he cheated and threw a football game as well in the future.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So I'm glad that Blue and Gold is back. I'm looking forward to. This is going to be a fun miniseries.
Yeah, for sure. It's great art. You got the guy that created Booster, and you got Ted Kord. Evidently, is back to life somehow. I don't know how, but he is alive.
The multiverse is back, baby.
We'll Wikipedia it.
There's infinite Ted Kords out there.
Damn.
Not all of them got their heads blown up.
Was that Identity Crisis?
Mm-hmm.
Identity Crisis issue 0 or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Pretty graphic. But
it was very graphic. I mean, the
multiverse is
the
back.
wall with that guy.
I don't know. So who knows? Anyone can come back.
Hey, if nothing else, Booster Gold was ranked as the 173rd greatest comic book character of all time by Wizard Magazine. So,
God damn.
No longer in business, Wizard.
Yeah, 173. Who's 174?
I don't know. This is on his Wikipedia page, so I don't know.
170.
Who's he sandwiched between?
Yeah,
I wish. I want to know the list.
Could I come up with 173 better? Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. So we got those. Anything else comic booky that we read this week?
I started reading Batman Earth 1 or whatever the hell, the second volume of that. Gary Frank, Jeff Johns, Gary Frank.
Oh, okay.
Art.
I always have trouble with Jeff Johns' Batman stories. I'm my favorite Batman writer.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's okay as a Batman writer. I think he's actually pretty good as a Bruce Wayne writer, if that makes sense. But yeah I think he I don't know. His Batman is very it's a little more cheesy. You know what I mean? Like he's not the Dark Knight necessarily. He's not sort of the Frank Miller, dark detective sort of Batman. He's got a little more, I don't know, I think Jeff Johns has a little more optimism. He's maybe a little too optimistic to write Batman or to write that kind of a Batman, but
okay.
He's more giant dinosaur than
That's perfect.
Then,
yes.
yeah,
Then
like-
Crowbar killing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more like we gotta get that penny in there, you know.
Did
Yes.
Jeff Johns
Yeah.
write Infinite
Perfect.
Crisis Zero? Did he write the Death of Ted Cord?
No, I think Greg Rucka did.
I have no
Was that
idea.
okay? It was Rucka. All right. 'Cause that was definitely when Johns was the head poobah writer at DC.
But I did, yeah. So I did start reading the volume 2, which I've liked so
Okay.
far. Gary Frank art is awesome. He's just so good.
Midnight Nation, baby.
Yeah.
I went back and read that again a couple months ago, and it still holds up. It's still a great story.
I haven't read it in a long time. I haven't.
Midnight Nation. Still, it's
yeah.
Straczynski.
I remember for sure.
I love that. Love that.
I'm trying to. God, I don't even remember. I mean, I remember Midnight Nation, but I can't remember. Like when you were talking, it was funny when you were talking about Justice League International. I could only remember how much I loved Justice League International, but I couldn't tell you one like moment from Justice. Like I can't remember anything from Justice, but I remember I really liked it.
Yeah.
You know,
Outside of like One Punch.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. But I didn't even remember that until you just said it. Now I remember it, but I'm trying to look up the wizard list. Oh, so I found it. Booster Gold is in between Uncle Gabby, who I don't know who that is, and David Goldfish Gold. So Lobo is lower than him, though. I don't know how that.
Wizard
and
magazine.
What? This is insane. Hyperion? I don't know. This is, maybe the list.
Sounds like.
Number 1 is Wolverine.
Of course.
Okay,
It's
a level set.
72 is Uncle Gabby. 73 is Booster Gold. Or 173. 174 is David Gold. 175 is Lobo. 170. Yeah,
Whoa.
you'd have to. Yeah, 176 is Black Widow. 177 is Hyperion.
What year is this?
I don't know. It doesn't say. I'm sure it was a while. Wolverine is number 1. It's Wolverine, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, the Joker. The Joker? Oh, I guess this is comic book characters. Not superheroes.
Ah, there you go.
Number 6 is Rorschach.
Wow.
Yeah. So, interesting.
All right.
Interesting.
That's an old list.
Yeah. It's. I don't know when it was published, but yeah, obviously pretty old. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know who Gabby Gold or whoever the hell 172 Uncle Gabby. I don't know who Uncle Gabby is, but there you go. Yeah. Other than that, I haven't. What have you guys been reading? Anything else?
I love what Seeley's doing with the Suicide Squad King Shark series. It's just fun comic books. It's just stupid, ridiculous, fun. No, I won't even say superhero comics. Just comics. It's a hoot.
Is that comics with an X?
No. I mean, there's still comics with
a C.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a great Suicide Squad spinoff. You know, you get King Shark, you get Defacer, which I think was probably kind of a blank slate character that you really kind of see Tim shining through with how he's treating that character as kind of the.
Didn't he create Defacer?
Wouldn't surprise me.
I think he did. I think
was that back in the Nightwing run?
Yeah, I think so. She wasn't much of a character. I mean, she was like she was just like a spurred,
She's
ex-girlfriend.
a vandal. Yeah. She paints dicks on statues and stuff.
His statue. It was Nightwing's statue because she was his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
So she painted a dick on his. Yeah. And then she went to Bell Rep prison.
Yeah, and she rages. Is I guess that's her thing, is that she goes on rages. But it's ridiculous and fun. It's I've been enjoying it.
King Shark's had quite the popularity surge.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere now.
Yeah. I love it in the Harley Quinn series and the Suicide Squad. And yeah, so it's time. It's time that the world had a King Shark miniseries.
Well, they have it. They have it now.
The time is now. Yeah. Which is, speaking of Tim Seeley, you talked to Tim on your Origins podcast, which is
Origin Stories.
Origin Stories.
I did.
Which you can get on our Patreon feed, which you can access by going to patreon.com/aroundcomics. Get all sorts of fun exclusive content. Exclusive. We did a double feature ACTV this week. We talked about Titans and Marvel What If. That was fun.
I really am enjoying Titans a lot.
I just watched the last episode tonight, and yeah, a lot of blood.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Cool.
It's good
So
stuff.
wait, who's the new bad person? Is that? Did they say that's Lady Shiva?
I didn't watch the latest episode, so I don't.
Okay,
I don't know.
yeah, there's a sword wielding. Yeah.
Oh
maniac.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who that is. I don't. Yeah, I did see that. I'm sorry, I did see that. I don't know who's. Yeah, I have no idea.
I'll have to check.
Some,
you guys chat. I will take on the role of Tom/Wayne and look it up.
Some person with a sword. Someone with a sword.
Angry.
Wayne, speaking of Wayne, he asked, do you think that Kirkman was influenced by Booster Gold when he created the irredeemable Ant-Man? Maybe, yeah. You know, that sort of, which ended up being the Ant-Man in the movies, right? The Scott.
I've got a page
Scott
out
Lang.
of that run from Andy, and I've got a good page out of that. I'll have to bust that out.
Sean Burris says, I always think of Jeff Johns as the modern day Al Milgram. Not a Johns fan or a Milgram fan. All right.
Okay. That's funny.
And Joe G says, Francine Peters from Strangers in Paradise is way above Booster Gold. Well, I don't know. Yeah.
It's all your point of view.
It's all perspective. It's subjective, you know? So I'm sure somebody out there, Dan Jurgens probably puts Booster Gold in the top 10, but you know,
one of the greatest superheroes of
all
time. Of the future. A hero from the future.
The future. It's funny also, I just thought about, not to continue on Booster Gold, but it's also funny that he wrote that he stole the stuff from a museum. So it's not even like modern technology from Booster's future. It's old technology.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny.
He sort of barely knows how to use most of the time.
Yeah. Now, where did was Skeets part of what did he steal Skeets as well? Or did Skeets come from some other, I don't even remember. Like, where did Skeets
I think he stole him, I think.
Did he? Was he part of the whole?
I have to look back.
Yeah.
Stuffed in the bag.
Greg Porter says Tom King writes a good Booster Gold. Yeah, Tom likes. As you've seen his, what he's done with Kite Man. I think Tom likes the loser characters as well. Sometimes
they're interesting.
Yeah.
So that character in Titans is Lady Vic.
Lady Vic.
That's
not a very ladylike name. Vic.
Her first appearance was in Nightwing #4 in 1997. So created by Chuck Dixon and Scott McDaniel. So she's been around a while, and yeah. So there you go.
I'm creating a character called Dick Chuckson.
Mr. Dick Chuckson.
Mr. Dick Chuckson.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Anything else we have to discuss?
I got nothing,
tonight?
No.
Are
we done?
It was a good night. It was a solid hour, I think, of comic book conversation for the most part, other than my eyeball talk.
Wear safety glasses. He almost put his eye out with a weed whacker.
Oh yeah.
Almost. Still hurts.
That's some middle-aged suburbia stuff right there.
I don't...
The threat is real.
Was
I told
it?
my wife,
Did you
I'm
knock
never.
like a rock or something up? Into
Yeah,
oh yeah, you got you gotta get some.
I know. I was in
Wear
a
the
hurry.
sunglasses. Yeah, something, man.
It hurt. I believe
Yeah.
me. I won't do it again. It hurt. It was like. I mean, it was like somebody just fucking jammed their thumb right in my eyeball. It hit me. I did not have time to react. It was just like, oh god.
Oh
Now you know why it hurts so much when a wrestler gets gouged in the eye. You're like, and then,
It's terrible. It's awful.
All right, so kids, wear your safety glasses whenever you're
Yep.
using the weed
weed
whacker.
whacking, yeah.
Always.
Check us out at patreon.com/aroundcomics. Sal will read your name on this here show if you join up, which is always a plus. You're immortalized forever on the digital.
Oh, speaking
digital
of,
waves.
I think I have someone's I have to read. Give
Okay.
me a moment. I think that we had a new Patreon patron, and I have to read their.
Nice.
We've
got the K Billy Super Sounds I've been looking forward to coming up here in a couple weeks. I'm doing all my Pulp Fiction research. So,
and the Pulp Fiction.
and the
sounds
Pulp
like.
Fiction.
Kevin Marshall. Thank you, Kevin Marshall, for being a patron. Subscribing to the Around Comics Patreon page. We appreciate it. We hope you're enjoying all the bonus content that you're getting there
Good
on
stuff.
Patreon. Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Yeah. Let's see here. I don't know why when I played the intro, it was super loud. So I'm gonna play the
Cover
outro.
your ears.
But it might be super loud. So
Right,
I don't know.
So
if
you're like me and you listen to this show with your earbuds in, get ready. All right, so that's it. Check out the Patreon stuff. We'll be back next week with a whole bunch more comics and comics culture talk. Appreciate you as always, folks. Also in the comments thread, Wayne and Greg and Joe and Dean and anybody else. Thanks for chiming in tonight. We love the interaction. You guys have a great rest of your week and weekend. We'll be back next Tuesday. And in the meantime,
in between time,
we'll be everywhere in
and around
the
comics.
probably really loud outro.